some of these Black industrialists were honoured at the Black Industrialist Excellence Awards last night. Tshepo Tshellaine, Lindiwe, Nkuna, and Daniel and Ndima join us now in studio for this conversation. Nice to have all of you in studio. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So, I mean, I'm literally meeting you all here for the first time. So we haven't even had a chance to chat a little bit off air. So I need to find out exactly what it is that you do and what you were awarded for last night. So I suppose, is it congratulations to you all?
Thank you.
So that's wonderful. So, Daniel, let me begin with you. Who's Daniel? This is Daniel, right. Okay, Daniel, talk to me. How was it for you? What was it, the award that you walked away with yesterday?
Thank you again, Lian, for having us. The award that we won as Cape Bio was under the category Innovation and Technology. We are a biotechnology company, and we were the first company, basically, to register a product, COVID-19 PCR product, under SAPRA, which was a big milestone for the country because we were running out of the reagents for testing.
Fantastic. So you registered one of the PCR tests that we all were fighting for, desperate to get our hands on, and you were out there the first to do this. Your company was the first to do it. That's an amazing achievement. So congratulations for that. Is it still around, still doing out there on the market?
Absolutely. COVID-19 is still pretty much part of us. I don't know if you've seen stats in Europe, the spikes of the subvariant of the Omicron variant. There are actually over 3 million, COVID cases in Europe alone. But even though the hospitalization is still high, but the mortality rate is still low. So we are not far away from the pandemic. I think we still need to make sure that we don't lower our guards.
Indeed. We need to be very, very vigilant of it. But I mean, thank goodness for the likes of your company and the things that are being done, that we're able to get these things manufactured and perhaps look ahead to other things that we need to worry about. Lindiwe, on your side, talk to us about what it is that you do and also sort of the accolades that you got last night.
Okay, so I own a company called Lindiwe Sanitary Pads. We manufacture and distribute sanitary pads and panty liners. So it's basically a feminine hygiene manufacturing company. We're based in 4 ways. We big in retail, in government, and also in cash and carries. So we were recognized and awarded the 2022 Presidential Black Industrialist Award for the women category.
Wow. That's a big award to walk away with, because it's not easy.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's actually very hard. But being me, persistent, I kick the doors, I kick the walls. There's no stopping me.
I'm so happy to hear that. But I mean, I'm sure you had to kick a lot of doors down to be heard and to get the opportunities that you did, because, the particular sector that you're working on is a very, very difficult one, and one where, as much as you trying as hard as you are, there are still young girls, millions of young girls in the country who don't have access to sanitary towels. And
it's not just that, it's also about the multinational companies. They are actually sort of monopolizing the industry and the opportunities in retail space. So you're fighting for the girl child, you're also fighting for your space in the industry. So it's just a lot of fighting that's happening. But hey, we're surviving, and hence the president has actually recognized us, and yeah.
Yeah, and I want to talk more about that, but I first want to bring Daniel into the conversation as well and find out, firstly, welcome and congratulations to you, Daniel.
Thank you. No, it's not Daniel.
Talk to us again about what was it that you went through. Sorry, Tshepo. Talk to us about your award that you won last night in the company that you're with.
Oh, thank you so much, Lian. My name is Tshepo Tshellaine. I'm the CEO of Tshellaine Holdings. My company, we're in the student accommodation sector. So we own a property in the south of Johannesburg called Winchester Hills. So our property is called Winchester Heights. So we offer student accommodation to university students, and we've been accredited with the University of Johannesburg since the year 2013. So we won the award for the youth because we're one of the youngest property developers in the country.
That's fantastic. Well done to you. Again, another difficult industry to break into. I mean, what was it like for you?
It's very difficult, I won't lie, but it has not been an easy journey, but every moment has been worth it, and we are grateful to the partners like the National Empowerment Fund that funded us and supported us from day one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, to get that funding, because you only hear horror stories from that fund, and people really struggle to get the funding from there. And yours sounds like it was a much easier journey.
Yeah,
And
no, it was not an easy journey, but I would say the processes from the NEF were very smooth, and they do help you and guide you as well.
Good.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm happy to hear that. So your property, I mean, there's also, in every one of your industries, a monopolized space. And I think that's one of the big problems that every single entrepreneur, business person, industrialist speaks to, is that to try and break into an industry where people refuse to allow you in is probably one of the hardest things. So, you know, from your perspective, Tshepo, how did you manage to break through?
Okay, how we managed to break through was we were always persistent and resilient. What happened was, because we're one of the youngest black property developers in the country, what we did was push the barriers and work hard until we got the funding, and that's what opened doors for us.
Yeah,
yes.
Good, I'm glad. Daniel, for you, you know, working in I suppose it's in a way the medical field, it was a race against time when we spoke about COVID, but obviously doing the PCR test and being the first to bring that to the market, that's not the only thing that your company does. What else is it that you guys are working on?
So you know, at the foundation of our research is what we call the convergence of bioinformatics and AI. So we're in that space. So that gives rise to some of the novel molecules that we are developing. So we've been developing these molecules, so-called enzymes, that are used in research for DNA analysis. We've been actually exporting them to the US, Canada, and India. We are now entering the European market. So these are products that were used by our counterparts in the US. They were making their own diagnostics using our reagents, and they were bringing those diagnostics back. So back to South Africa and Africa, and we said we had to not do this value jump anymore, but we must make sure that we do prepare ourselves to be a diagnostic company that is able to respond holistically to the challenges that South Africa is facing in the healthcare space.
Fantastic. That's really great. And I mean, I think the one thing at that time during 2020, 2021, and even still now, you know, we all like to think of ourselves as medical experts because that was at one time, that was all we could talk about. But one thing that was glaringly obvious is the fact that we were fighting with the Western world for medication, that we were fighting for care, and we just didn't give it. We didn't have enough access here on the continent. When it came to vaccines, we were one of the last in line. We didn't have enough money. We didn't have enough vaccines. Okay, granted, things have changed now, but we saw the result of it and lost many lives because of that. To avoid this going forward in the future and to become reliant on ourselves and our own medical ambitions, do you think that this propelled us to make us work even harder, companies and black industrialists like yourself?
Yeah, I think we have demonstrated as a country that we are capable. And we are not the only ones that were innovating in this space. I mean, we were part of different consortiums of innovators across the country, and we're collaborating across the continent. We are able to develop our own reagents for diagnostics. We are capable of producing our own vaccines. What we had was a situation whereby we relied so much on consuming imports, such that we forgot that we are able to innovate. Everything that we do ends in paper and publications, but we don't really industrialize. So I think with the capabilities that we're able to develop during this pandemic, this is, I think, a good platform to start building on into the future, because I think we have done quite well as a country, and it's just a matter of us building on from here and ensure that in the next pandemics, or if the next wave comes, we are able to deal with it accordingly.
Excellent. Lindiwe, from the female voice, from fighting against these multinationals, and it is a reality. It doesn't matter, you know, we talk about brands when you walk through shopping centers. It's the same brands that we see all the time that dominate the female care ranges that we see all the time. But for you to break into there, to get a shelf space, to get that funding, to get the attention of retailers, and most importantly, to get the attention of government to say, look, guys, please, you know, we can do this. Allow us to actually own a little bit of this now. Talk to me about this going forward. I think this award that you've gotten hopefully is going to propel and lift up others that are in this industry.
Okay. Two things for me, right? I said I'm not going to. There was a lot of talk about period poverty, right? Everybody was talking about how young girls are struggling to get to have access to affordable sanitary pads, right? And then I said, that's not the conversation I want to have at this point in time, because there's a lot of talk around it. I want to talk about menstruation as an economy. Because that's an economy on its own, and women, I felt, the focus have been shifted. We are more focused on period poverty than on women not just being end users of the sanitary pads, but being active participants in the mainstream menstrual economy, right? I felt like we needed to change the narrative as women. I needed to create a space where women can actually be active participants in the value chain of the production of sanitary pads, right? So we're now changing the gears. We want now also, because men are actually the ones that are dominating in the industry. They are the ones that are actually dominating in benefiting from our God-given gift. We are the only menstruators, yet we are the beggars when it comes to issues of menstruation. So that was what I wanted to change. And when it came to breaking into the retail space, getting the recognition and being taken seriously in the industry, I want to say I'm a product of business development, right? Enterprise development, right? Because of the way things are structured here in South Africa. We don't have a situation where you walk into a door and you got all the help that you need, the necessary help that you need in order to be a successful businesswoman. So you sort of have to go to CEDA for a business plan, you go to a DTIC for funding or for testing, for funding of testing, machinery, you go somewhere else. So I sort of told myself, if that's what it took for me, that's what's going to take for me to be a successful entrepreneur, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to create a platform. Yes, I'm going to make it happen.
Good.
And I'm going to create a platform and talk to women and say, yes, it's frustration. It's frustrating, but it's doable.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And perhaps you might not have to struggle as I did. I'm there to mentor young women, to guide and all of that.
Absolutely, and they're looking up to you. They really are. Guys, I'm so proud of all of you. Thank you so much for coming in. Well done. Tshepo, Lindiwe and Daniel, thank you. Well done. And these are some of the Black Industrialists who were honoured last night at the Black Industrialists Excellence Awards. You've heard their stories, and I think they all deserve these accolades.